It is 6:50 on this Saturday morning, kicking off the holiday weekend very nicely with just partly cloudy conditions. For most areas, there's not much wind this morning and the temperatures are pretty comfortable. Manitou Springs right now is 60 degrees, showing a southeast wind at about 10 miles an hour. That's as strong as we've seen across the area so far this morning. About 61 right now in Pueblo West. The wind right now currently at Parkview's Emergency Services building is calm. Looking back towards the Pikes Peak region, you can see the partly cloudy conditions that we have in place. But these aren't low clouds and fog as we've had on occasion in the last few days. It's just mid-level stuff floating overhead, which we'll see throughout the morning. By noon, the first showers should be developing primarily over the western part of the state, and that's associated with what's left of the monsoon flow, which, by the way, has been taking some hits lately. But there's enough of it around that we'll have some spotty showers developing through 4 o'clock, mainly along and west of the interstate. Some indications of some weaker showers trying to get going across the far southeastern plains at that time as well. But nothing real strong on that map. High temperatures should be up a few degrees today with 80s and 90s in much of eastern Colorado, and this puts us a handful of degrees above seasonal averages. Looking for 60s and 70s for most of the higher terrain. Salida today could reach the lower 80s. As we head into the evening hours, a few showers and thunderstorms will probably cross the interstate, mainly across the Pikes Peak region. You do notice a couple of green blips out here in Baca County, but most of the storms this evening should cruise across the eastern plains in the vicinity of I-70, so I think north of most of our coverage area. Once we get through midnight, those will head off into Kansas. The rest of the area will be partly cloudy. Tomorrow looks warm, as does Labor Day. It also appears likely that the wind is going to start to pick up, and I mentioned that because of the balloon glows and such that are trying to go on with the Balloon Classic. So we're hopeful that we'll be able to get most of the events in, but particularly during the afternoon hours tomorrow and Monday, we do think there'll be a noticeable wind out there at times, maybe gusting over 20 miles an hour. A weak wave could come close enough to the area on Tuesday to kick off some spotty showers and thunderstorms again, but most of the rest of the week looks to remain pretty dry, at times breezy, and fairly warm. High temperatures near or above seasonal averages, overnight lows in the 50s. Pueblo will have temperatures in the 90s the next couple of days, then fall back into the 80s starting Tuesday with overnight lows in the 50s and lower 60s. Again, once we get past today, I don't think you have much threat for rain, but you will notice at times that the wind is starting to pick up, as it often does around here this time of year. Canyon City, we could have an isolated thunderstorm today. If so, frequent lightning, brief bursts of rain, probably as much as you should expect, and then I think we'll dry things out. Highs will fall from the upper 80s into the mid-80s and perhaps even lower 80s as we head into next week. Overnight lows in the 50s to around 60. And then in mountain areas, you know, this time of year, we're starting to see the transition of seasons. So we're finally starting to eat away at that monsoon flow. We're going to leave some thunderstorms in the forecast both today and Tuesday, with highs falling from the 70s into the 60s, overnight lows in the 40s. But it looks different, and that we're not expecting storms to be around on a daily basis. And that's just an indication that the drier air is starting to work in as September approaches, and of course we're in it now. Some of these cold fronts are starting to get closer to the area, so they're sweeping some drier air back our way. And I think before too long, we'll likely be talking more about fire danger again than we're going to be talking about floods.
Oh man, that's crazy. So of course the Labor Day liftoff in Colorado Springs has begun. So wind, of course, for the hot air balloons going up, that's really the big factor. We could see the winds picking up this weekend. Yeah,
I know they will in the afternoons. The question is in the mornings, and that's why the balloon folks are trying to do things in the mornings. They get the inversions and the wind stays pretty low. So we'll be hopeful, but I'm not promising.
Yeah, hopefully. All right, Marty, thanks so much.
You're welcome.
Well, he